We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the National University Speaker Series. My name is Dr. Nancy Rowland Heinrich, and I have the honor of serving as the Executive Vice President of Community Engagement for National University. I am proud to be the founder and host of our National University Speaker Series. For the past 4 years, we have held more than 40 webinars with notable presenters and subject matter experts on a wide variety of topics. Please note that all of our past speaker series have been recorded and they're posted on that National University alumni website. Today, we so appreciate all of you attending, well over 100 people in this session. So whether you're a student, an alum, faculty, staff, or a community member, we welcome you to the speaker series because this series is open to all interested participants. National University has had a rich 53-year history and has always been committed to providing accessible and relevant higher education offerings to meet the needs of non-traditional working and military students. We have had many impressive milestones in recent years, now reaching more than 50,000 students, 150 degree programs, and in June, we reached the milestone of 200,000 National University graduates. And combined with our graduates from NCU and JFKU, we now have more than 240,000. The most significant recent event for the institution was the launch of our National University Foundation. On July 25th, we held the inaugural NU Foundation Gala at the USS Midway Museum. We had more than 600 attendees celebrating the launch of the foundation, President Milliron's first year as president, as well as Dr. Lee and Mary Rice being awarded the NU Humanitarians of the Year. So if you didn't participate, feel free to join us next year. We'll be announcing the date very soon. So let's get started on tonight's speaker series. We are so fortunate to have one of our very own National University alumna, Amanda Lee, who has a very unique area of expertise. She has her master's degree in education from National University and a degree in psychology from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Today's topic will be interesting as the focus will be on optimization of the brain and performance. Amanda is an internationally board certified cognitive coach and also mindset certified. Her professional experience spans combination of 20 years in the field of education, STEM, program development, strategic partnerships, marketing, PR, and entrepreneurship. As the regional director at Brain Balance of Greater San Diego, she has grown the business from 1 to 3 centers and continues to lead regional business development efforts, manage a growing team, including directors, coaches, interns, and also trains families and professionals on neurodiversity and brain health. Every day, Amanda says she aims to inspire and to be inspired. So we look forward to finding out more from Amanda. I just want to share with you that following the presentation, we'll have a moderated Q&A. Today's moderator will be one of my dear colleagues, Heather Piedrahita, who serves as the Associate Director of Alumni and Community Relations for National University. So please submit your questions in the Q&A section. And at this time, it is my pleasure to turn the program over to Amanda Lee to share her intriguing knowledge on optimizing our brain health and performance. Amanda, we are ready to have you inspire us.
Thank you. That was such a sweet introduction. I'm so excited, everyone. Thank you to those who just typed in right away, sharing where you're from. That engagement is really exciting because these are only fun if everybody's involved and gets what they want out of it. So I had put in the chat box as well, what do you want to get out of this? I see where everyone's from, but I also wanted to know where or really who is with us today. So go ahead, and I think Heather or Heather's team will be putting up a poll. Go ahead and click all that apply to you. So I have a better idea again of who's here today. Are you a parent with concerns? Are you a professional working with children, professional in health and wellness, or perhaps a professional unrelated field? Are you a student, whether you're an undergrad or master or doctorate student with NU, or I guess with another university? Are you an adult, 18 to 65-ish, or an older adult, 65 plus? We also wanted to know if you're an alumnus, faculty, or staff with national or other. And again, just choose all that apply. And I will share my screen while you're all doing that. And then whenever, Heather, I don't really know how polls work, just let me know what the results look like.
Sure, no problem. We've got about 75% participated so far, so we'll leave it up a few more
Perfect. Okay.
seconds here.
Well, in the meantime, then, again, my name is Amanda. I'm the Regional Director for Brain Balance. And yes, I am a proud alum of National University. I do have an interesting background, so I'll talk about that in a moment. And the main talk will revolve around how you can hopefully take away actionable steps today to optimize your brain health, which, by the way, we will go into as well, is what is brain health? It's everything. It's everything we do, we feel, how we're motivated, and overall performance, whether it's you as a human being, how you want to show up in relationships, to how you perform in dance or sport or music, to how you read and learn in school. It really just, all of our actions have to do with brain health. So that's why today's topic is so exciting, and really what led me to Brain Balance today. All right, I
Thank you for
see the
that.
results. Yeah, lots of adults here, a lot of students, professionals in unrelated fields, but also health and wellness. We have quite a few parents as well, a lot of alumni. So yay, I'm so glad that you're here, and some other. Perfect. Okay, so that gives me an idea of what we're working with. And then again, just put in the chat box what you're hoping to get out of today. And hopefully, if I don't cover it, that we can go over it during the Q&A, okay? So brain balance, the topic that we'll talk about today in terms of brain health, it's all about information right now. It's not meant to be medical advice for you. So if you're looking for a diagnosis, if you're neurodivergent or you have some brain injury, please contact a medical professional, or you can contact me and I can refer you to an appropriate provider, because sometimes you don't know who to reach out to as well, okay? So today is for educational purposes only. It is based a lot on research though, so know that a lot of what we discussed today, there's a rhyme and there's a reason, and hopefully that comes across clear later on, okay? So I love to start all my trainings and presentations with a little warm-up activity. So you're invited to participate. It's up to you, but I think this will really help prime your brain for what you're going to learn in the next, 30 or so minutes, okay? So I'm going to invite you to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and we're gonna start with some basic deep breaths. And what you should be feeling is your belly expanding like a balloon when you're inhaling through your nostrils, ideally, and then deflating, and your chest and your stomach deflating when you are exhaling through your mouth. So we're gonna do 3 big breaths, all right? Whenever you're ready, take a deep breath in with me. And exhale slowly out the mouth. Then we're gonna do that 2 more times at your pace. Deep breath in. Big breath out. And I encourage you to be comfortable as you take that deep breath in, that you give a big out loud sigh as you exhale out. I want you to move your body a little bit now, little wiggles, little shoulder rolls. And how about a big, big, big hug for yourself? It is Wellness Month, by the way, if you didn't know. So give yourself a big hug for being here today and wanting to learn. And we'll get started. Usually I love doing a lot more, but I know you're short on time. So hopefully that warmed you up a little bit. If you need to get some wiggles out some more, or any type of additional stretches, do what feels good for you, okay? All right, so a little bit about me. I mentioned I do have an interesting background. I started off studying animal science in my undergrad in psychology, always with the emphasis with education though. And usually it's around wildlife conservation education or science, always been a science nerd though, and I've gone from teaching at outdoor schools and zoos and children's museums to now at Brain Balance because the brain is fascinating. We can't deny that, right? We are learning so much about the brain now more than ever in history because of technology. And we know that our brain, again, controls everything. And the great news is, kind of precursor here, is your brain can change. You can always improve it. And I'm going through a big self-growth in my own personal life right now. And I definitely can attest to how these changes can happen quickly and also over time. And as Heather mentioned, I got my master's with a national university and my credential. However, I knew I wanted to make a different kind of impact outside the classroom. So if there's any classroom teachers here, I commend you, I applaud you. Please keep supporting our youth and our adults. We need those classroom teachers. I feel that I can support you in training the trainers and the rest of you in the community of how to show up in the world the way you want to, though. I really believe in having everybody have the opportunity to live their best lives and to have the opportunity as well to meet their potential, right? Actualize their potential. And so brain balance and brain health overall is what allows me to fulfill that mission and purpose that I have in life, at least for the time being. All right. Let's see. So who is Brain Balance? Why was I partially invited to be here today? Well, we are a international program, actually. We have centers across the nation, and I run the 3 centers here in San Diego. In Carmel Mountain Ranch is our main center, Encinitas, and in Chula Vista in South Bay. However, we do programs virtually. So we work with students across the nation and definitely internationally as well. We have a lot of folks currently from Mexico. We have folks from Switzerland. We have folks in Asia. So whether you're near or far, and I know we have people across the nation here today, maybe even international on this webinar, or maybe you're watching this again and you live afar, we can support you in everyday actions and also take it that step further to improve overall brain health. And, you know, the folks we see tend to be those who are wanting to improve focus or ADHD symptoms. We do see a lot of anxiety and other mental health disorders. And actually, Heather, if you don't mind, there is another poll. And so if you don't mind, everybody, just select all that apply to you as well. You know, what are some of your concerns or challenges, if you have any? So we don't see people who just have challenges, although most people are wanting to improve one of these areas. Again, focus or attention, anxiety, maybe they have some learning challenges, whether you're a child or in college, sensory processing. I think someone earlier mentioned traumatic brain injury. We see people with stroke. We see it all. And then there's a handful of folks who also want to use brain balance and improve their brain health for overall performance. So they're competitive athletes or dancers or performers as a whole. So we do see everything. So go ahead and click all that while I explain the rest of brain balance, okay? And then Heather, whenever you're ready, you could just pop up the results and I'll know. So like I said, we see kids, teens, and adults as young as about age 3. My oldest student this year was 93. So as I mentioned earlier, it's never too late. The brain can change at any stage in life, okay? And what I also shared earlier was that it is all based on research. The program was put together based off of over 60 different bodies of research and has since been backed by research. And with Harvard, for instance, I think everybody should or could be familiar with Harvard. You know, they had some pretty groundbreaking results showing how the Brain Balance program is just as effective as low-dose medication in alleviating ADHD symptoms, particularly in kids. And that's huge, right? To improving cognition and cognitive skills. Cambridge Brain Science is a global brain research company, and it showed in just a few months in the Brain Balance program. And by the way, in both studies, just a portion of the program, not the whole shebang either, there was a statistical improvement in a lot of these gains. So memory, reasoning, verbal ability, and concentration. To quite a few parents and educators here today too, how this improvement in brain health can improve overall school performance and behavior and focus and emotional regulation, and anxiety and other mental health challenges also improves over time. So the research, by the way, is all on our website, brainbalance.com/research. If you'd like to learn more, do encourage you, because there is so much to be learned here. And, you know, encouraging you, hopefully, that change is possible. So a lot of people have concerns about cognition, and there are different reasons for that, whether it's age or, something happened, or it's just you're noticing it. A lot of stress. Yeah, I imagine that was going to be a pretty common answer. I also see a lot of challenges with executive functioning. And right now with back to school season in swing, we are focusing quite a bit on that, particularly with kids. However, again, we work with a lot of adults too. So how do you manage your time and projects? How do you make sure you are meeting those deadlines? And how do you make sure you're doing that without being anxious and doing it effectively, without being distracted all the time? So I see a lot of challenges there. And there's definitely some trauma in the mix too. So thank you to everyone who participated. That again gives me an idea of what's going on. Okay. So overall, one big theme you're going to hear me say over and over and over again throughout almost any of my presentations is these three things that matter. Okay. What you do matters, what you eat matters, and what you think matters. I'd like you to repeat that either in your head or out loud with me again, okay? What you do matters, what you eat matters, what you think matters. Everything really comes down to these three pieces. And I'll expand on that, of course, throughout the presentation. However, if you're going to take away anything today, just remember these three things. What you do, eat, and think matters, okay? Let's start with the definition, though, in terms of brain health. What is brain health? So according to the World Health Organization, love this definition, they say it is the state of brain functioning across cognitive, sensory, social, emotional, behavioral, and motor domains, all those components, allowing a person to realize their full potential over the course of their lives, irrespective of the presence or absence of disorders. So brain health, again, has to do with every single one of us, no matter what state we're in, stage in life, no matter if we have some kind of condition, and again, all areas, all facets of life and how we think, feel, and connect to others, all right? And these physical, emotional, social experiences, it relates back to development, okay? We know, at least I hope you know, that early childhood development is really key. And that was a part of my career for quite a while too, is really focusing on impacting those early years and how the brain develops. The thing is, we forget that development actually happens throughout life. It's not just in childhood. It's not just, oh, you're about age 25 and the brain stops growing, physically, so your brain connections are done. It's your whole life that development and connectivity is happening or pruning or getting impacted, through these different experiences and genetics, okay? What we need to also understand is that in terms of development, there are certain foundations that have to be in place if you are to expect one to perform and be at their best, basically. Optimal functioning happens when all these different tiers are developmentally appropriate and connecting properly, starting from having control of your body with those primitive reflexes, which are, by the way, something we're all born with initially in life. However, if you retain one of these reflexes, such as the Moreau or startle reflex, this is that reflex where babies get a little scared and they jump and they cry. Very important as an infant, but as an adult, if you still have this Moreau or startle reflex and your nervous system is so heightened, it can absolutely affect other areas of your functioning, right? In terms of how you control your motor muscles and movements, to how you feel your own body and how you can regulate your body, to how you process your environment. What are you able to take in versus ignore, to how, again, everything is synced. Are things working efficiently? So know that this progression of development is really key and the main driver behind cognitive and overall functional success, okay? In terms of what's happening in the brain, there's no sound here, so don't worry. I just thought this was a good visual because when we're first born in infancy, babies actually double the size of their brain. And there are way more neurons and connections in those first 5 years than ever in the rest of your life. And that's because there's so much to learn. There's so much engagement with the world through their senses and through movement and through those reflexes and then through control and then through school and more. These connections are so key, again, to help us have the basic foundations to get through the world in our day, all right? And by about age 5, they grow about 75, maybe up to 95% of their brain. It kind of just depends. And then by about age 25, I mentioned earlier, physically it's done growing, but those connections that you see building are there forever. And those connections, go to the next page, are really what researchers have continued to identify as the main root cause behind things like ADHD, which are neurodevelopmental disorders, anxiety, autism, to way we think and feel, right? That's cognition, to how we learn, how we can read, how we can comprehend what we're being told in terms of even directions, to our behaviors, our impulse control, how we are able to empathize or connect with others, to our speech and communication, and of course, mental health, things like anxiety and more. So connections, if you don't mind doing little circle connections with me, I've done this a lot even in my science years. Connections are what is key. And the more multisensory and the more multimodal our life experiences are, especially in education, the better. And in the workplace, how do you incorporate that as well so it isn't this sedentary one mode of learning and thinking when the brain needs so much more stimulation, okay? So at Brain Balance, we like to say a balanced brain is a teachable brain. What I mean by that is that when those connections in the brain are firing properly, they're wired properly, things are able to process in an efficient way. But when you have traffic jams in the brain, all right, those traffic jams can cause different impairments in our functioning. It can impact how we remember information or learn, to how we are able to prioritize or not, how, again, we're able to connect to others or regulate those emotions in an appropriate manner, to even how we coordinate our body. You know, you might be someone who's clumsy. If you're someone who's constantly running into things, maybe you feel like you're not the safest driver because spatial awareness is difficult for you, right? It could be multiple factors. And in the end, remember, it's not just you struggling for no reason. It has to do with those connections and those traffic jams in the brain. If your brain is a big old highway, we want those highways to be clear, all right? We don't want those roadblocks. We don't want GPS to send you the wrong way or send you the scenic route for no reason. And know that these challenges can show up at any stage in life, at any age, for, again, different reasons, which we won't have too much time to go into today. And so if we know it's about connections, we also know that the stronger those connections are, the better our processing, the better our functioning. So this is where neuroplasticity comes in. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize information based on those experiences, what you're stimulated by, right? And a famous quote is "Neurons that fire together, wire together" by Donald Hebb, all right? Has anyone heard of this term neuroplasticity? If you have, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I want to see who's heard of this term. This is a term that's been popping up quite a bit in the last decade for sure. I see lots of thumbs. Well, a few thumbs. Okay, a lot more popping in. Okay, just wanted to see where people were at in terms of understanding these terms. If this is new to you, that's okay. Neuroplasticity, again, is the big picture is that your brain can change, okay, at any age, okay? Perfect. Thank you, everyone, for participating. So in terms of neuroplasticity, in terms of brain connections, there are multiple domains in terms of brain health and how those connections affect our, again, overall functioning. So take a look at this here. There are 5 main domains that we have highlighted. So sensory, literally what you're able to experience in the world. And we typically learn about the 5 main senses, like hearing, seeing, touching, feeling. There's actually an activity I love doing called Tap Into Your Senses. I want you to also be aware that there are more senses than we are taught. We have something called proprioception and interoception. This is how you relate to the world around you in terms of proprioception, not running into things or being clumsy, to interoception, which is how you recognize if you're hungry or thirsty or need to use the restroom, okay? And we need those senses, again, to be appropriate. We want to be able to ignore what we don't need to pay attention to. We need to make sure we feel pain and heat and the cold properly, right? We want to make sure certain noises aren't too stimulating for us. And then it goes into our motor controls. So there's gross and fine motor and also bilateral coordination, meaning things that require both sides of the brain to do, like walking, or even honestly, sitting in a chair and not falling out, having a strong enough core for that. All right. And I mentioned rhythm and timing before, and I'll say it again. Literally everything has to sync together properly. These systems have to sync together properly for you to even pay attention to this presentation today. Okay. Then we go into the other domains of functioning that are a little bit more cerebral, if you will, right? It's not something you can necessarily do this to improve that. It's overall foundations that need to support all these pieces actually, and that includes the behavioral. So again, emotional regulation, not having anger management. I see a lot of that in our kids and our adults. We also see a lot of challenges with coping, right? And that resiliency, especially these days. That is how we're able, sorry, to manage the world around us, and our own feelings has to do with the brain. And those social emotional components, that's of course absolutely appropriate for us to expect, say, an adult to be able to handle something not going their way, as opposed to, say, a 3-year-old, right? But if developmentally the brain is not where it needs to be, you might see a high school student or a college student right now throwing a tantrum like a child would, because again, things aren't connecting. And then ultimately cognition here plays into how we again learn and manage the day around us, how we're able to follow, multi-step instructions, and so much more. And again, these domains rely on each other, rely on a strong foundation, which if you look down below there, we did include nutrition, because what we fuel our body and brains really affects, again, the rest of our functioning, right? So you need to keep in mind that, again, the brain is all about connections. It's all about these various domains interrelating with one another, with a baseline of nutrition and control that you need to have that's developmentally appropriate, so that you can get to the root cause of whatever your goals or your struggles may be. Okay, hopefully that all makes sense. I can answer some more questions about that later. So what builds connectivity? That's the big ticket question, right? What actually changes the brain? And I gave you little hints earlier. What changes the brain is sensory motor engagement. You need to keep in mind that although there are genes and experiences that shape the development of our brain and our experiences as a whole, how we handle ourselves each day, right? What you do, what you eat, what you think influences how those genes are expressed and what's happening in terms of those connections. And again, sensory motor engagement is one of the most powerful ways to, I like to say, tickle the brain or excite the brain to build new connections or strengthen connections. And in addition to that, the brain also needs a few things. It needs particular stimuli in an appropriate sequence in a timely manner, okay? And it needs to basically have the Goldilocks effect. Things need to be not too hard, not too easy. There needs to be enough repetition. And then things need to also be progressively challenging in order to build these new roads in the brain, all right? So the next few tips, essentially, I call it the pillars of brain health. We'll talk about how you can implement these best practices, all right, on your own in order to develop the optimal brain that you like, right, to achieve the goals that you have, okay? So there are 6. The first one I want to mention is physical activity. You need to move, right? Movement matters, all right? If exercise is a trigger word for you, don't say that. Movement really is what's key. And there's so much research over many, many decades now showing that. However, I'm going to break it down a little bit more. We know so much more about how much exercise and what kind of exercise you need to achieve your goals of why you're exercising to begin with, okay? So you're bang for your buck, if you will, all right? So aerobic exercise is really what's key. This is what stimulates the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. Big word, honestly, doesn't matter. No, just know that that type of exercise is what excites the brain and gets your brain thinking. And the more you can do this type of exercise, basically raising your heart rate in the morning, the better you're going to function throughout the day. It's not to say that if you exercise in the afternoon or evening, it's not as helpful. It just means that if you'd like to really be sharp throughout your day, in the morning is best, okay? And then how much time, right? You have 150 to 180 minutes that's recommended of moderate intensity. Or you can do something more vigorous in a shorter amount of time frame. And the difference between moderate and vigorous intensity, I like to explain, is right now I'm a little excited. I can feel my heart rate a little faster than usual, okay? Maybe some of you have smart watches or you have different devices that help track your beats per minute, basically. And if you're able to still have a conversation, but you can feel that heart, thump thump a little bit, I would call that moderate intensity. And then vigorous would be you're kind of out of breath. You can't really hold a full conversation, all right? The great news is this doesn't have to be intentional, go to the gym kind of exercise. It can be everyday activities that raise your heart rate, from doing the laundry, right? You're reaching in and out, you're folding, you're moving, to vacuuming. Vacuuming is not easy, to me at least. That machine is fairly heavy and you're going back and forth and walking around the house. That little bit of movement, again, raising that heart rate just a little bit counts. So in terms of minutes, if you're trying to track your exercise, track your daily activities as well if you feel your heart rate increase, including things like taking a walk around your neighborhood to gardening and more, all right? And then one thing that's really neat is we've learned if you use some kind of fitness tracker, kind of like having a workout buddy, someone to help keep you accountable, you're more likely to achieve these movement goals, all right? So track it if you're not, and set very specific SMART goals if you would like to achieve this pillar of brain health, all right? The next thing is exercising your brain, stimulating the brain. The brain loves to learn. And I think that's why a lot of you are here today. You want to learn what else you can do to support your mental well-being, right? And so try different things. Challenge yourself. Actually try hard things. And one thing that the Center for Brain Health is really pushing, and this is out of the University of Texas, is curiosity. And I've been a fan of curiosity for a long time. Again, my background is in science. So asking questions and wanting to learn why is huge. The more you approach life with curiosity, the more your brain will flourish as opposed to the opposite, right? Especially when there's pretty sedentary behaviors that a lot of us fall into these days, especially the path of sedentary behaviors like doom scrolling on your phone or watching too much TV or screen time in general. I do want to note active sedentary behaviors are okay though. Things like reading, try to read different books, different authors, different subjects. If you're used to reading the same kinds of books, try new hobbies, learn new hobbies. There's so many great resources out there, from the rec centers to classes with the city colleges to NU has lots of amazing courses that you can take to learn more and expand your horizons, essentially. All right. So that's something I would recommend, is stimulating your brain. And then if you're stimulating your brain, which a lot of times we all need a lot of that now because of how we've trained our brain with technology, taking the time to rest as well. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a really key practice of mine to feel grounded and not to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're someone here who's struggling with mental health challenges, who's struggling with stress or struggling with focus. You can train your mind to rewire and calm down when you practice mindfulness. And it is a skill. And yes, it can be hard. Just like anything new you learn or engage in, there's a learning curve. And without practice, you will regress. And so mindfulness, I really encourage everyone here, if you don't have a mindfulness daily practice, to figure out what works for you. Is it 1 minute? I call it a mindful minute. Is it 1 minute of just resting and feeling your body? Just like you started with me today in the warm-up activity, just to take those 3 big breaths every day before you start your day, right? To take that moment to stretch before you go to bed. Or I mentioned tap into your senses, right? See, really, as you're driving or eating, right, to really feel and experience what's happening now rather than thinking, too much ahead or about the past or too engrossed in conversation. Just take that moment to be present with yourself and manage that stress. And that goes along with sleep, which I'll talk about in a moment. Nutrition is a big part of brain health. I mentioned this is the building block to how we function because what we feel our body matters. So there's a few pieces of advice here. By the way, I'm not a licensed nutritionist, so I can't answer any specific, you should eat eat this or that foods, but these are based off of a lot of research that is available out in the World Wide Web, I guess. And then we do have, by the way, at Brain Balance, our own nutritionists that support our students, whether families or adults, to support their foundation in how they're fueling their brain too. We really recommend low inflammation diets, and that looks different for each person. Generally speaking, some of the big culprits of inflammation tend to be gluten, dairy, and of course, sugar. So reducing that or eliminating that, and or really just understanding if that even affects you at all is key. So an elimination diet. To omega-rich foods. There's tons and tons of research around this. And this is important because it helps create and maintain the cell membranes so your brain can function at its best. Along with protein, you might have heard a lot about protein, and there is plant and animal protein. Protein as a whole, though, we'll focus on that, is what's key as the precursor for neurotransmitters. So again, fuel the brain, feel those connections, and fuel the information being hopefully transported to the rest of your other systems to make sense of the world around you properly. There's other recommendations, including complex carbohydrates to micronutrients that are key, again, to ensure that although our brain is only about, say, 2% of our body weight, it does consume about 20% of those resources. So feed your body and brain well. Your brain is in basic control of everything else. And it's not just your brain, it's your gut. So if you haven't heard about the gut-brain axis, please look into it. Your gut and brain really work hand in hand. And a lot of times, researchers and practitioners and doctors now, they call your gut the second brain. So pay attention, again, to what you're feeding the body and the brain, because that affects a lot of what we are experiencing in the world around us, all right? So I mentioned sleep earlier, right? If you're gonna rest that brain, that's huge because that's when you can process information, get rid of information that's not important, and even remember information, okay? And storing information and memories. So question for you, many of you are adults here today. What is your bedtime routine? You are not a child that needs to go to sleep, say by 7 p.m. anymore, to make sure you wake up rested, although there's a lot of kids these days who are not getting the sleep they need. So if you're a parent here, which I believe there's quite a few, think about your whole family. What is your routine? Morning routine, afternoon routine, bedtime routine? And adults here, are you getting enough quality sleep? Are you practicing the good habits like not being around screens for the last 2 hours of bedtime? Are you priming your brain to know that, hey, it's time to wind down so that you can rest well and, again, set yourself up for success? So sleep, no matter the age, is still key. Don't use the excuse of I'm 80, so it doesn't matter. Yes, it does, okay? Your brain needs that rest. And then the last thing I want to talk about in terms of pillars for brain health is relationships. This is one that is not often talked about, but I know came up a lot during COVID. We learned how important relationships and connections are. And research shows healthy relationships tend to reduce stress and tend to promote better brain health. They've done brain scans of people with healthy and robust relationships versus someone who doesn't. And it's not about the quantity, by the way, it's the quality. So first, I was talking to my team about it this morning, is what is your relationship with yourself? Remember, I said what you think matters. Are you kind to yourself? Are you practicing, again, the good practices to take care of your body and brain, what you're feeding it, when are you going to sleep, how much you're moving and exercising and stimulating it the way it wants to be stimulated, right? Start with the relationship with yourself. And then, of course, relationships with others is really what's key. Even saying hi to strangers rather than just walking by, ignoring them, makes a huge change in the brain. And it's really special because I used to say this in the past before really understanding the science, but truly when you interact with anyone in your life, they make a lasting impact. Your brain literally is never going to be the same again. As this presentation is going on, all of us are influencing each other right now and have that lasting impact in the brain. So I love that. So get out there, learn. Again, there's so many ways to engage that brain and body and also meet other people while fulfilling multiple pillars of brain health, okay? So maybe you've done all this, okay? And you're wondering, what else can I do? Do I need more help? Harvard actually came up with 6 cornerstones to any effective brain health and cognitive fitness program. It may sound familiar, just to let you know. Number 1, it needs to incorporate some kind of exercise component. It needs to incorporate some kind of diet consideration, to sleep and stress management practices, to social interactions, to mental stimulation. I really hope this sounds familiar. We just went over it, right? These are the 6 pillars that I consider essential for brain health. And that was well before I came across this study with Harvard. So the thing is, there's not a lot of programs out there that incorporate all these pieces. And that's why I love Brain Balance and what has kept me here and what has allowed our company to thrive globally for the last almost 20 years now. We have people around the world coming to us because nobody incorporates all these pieces in this unique way. So nutrition, cognitive and social emotional skills training, and physical sensory motor exercises that's personalized. So not just a general exercise plan. We're not just brain games. We are incorporating this multimodal, integrated approach for each individual to be able to reach their goals in just a matter of months. So we incorporate a lot of neurotechnology. You can see one of our previous students here wearing some of the cool glasses. There's a lot of stimulations, and there's a cool app that you also use in addition to all the sensory motor engagements that we have you participate in. So here's some examples of our students in the program. Again, we work with kids as young as 3 and up. And you can see, again, some of their sensory gear, something that's literally buzzing on their body, to the different glasses and colors and stimulations they're having, to the auditory stimulation with different music, as well as beats per minute and rhythms. And they're doing exercise like core, which is essential for processing speed in the brain. They're working on bilateral coordination. Again, think of body coordination that requires multiple centers to work together. Visual and auditory processing on the tablets and other activities, which is extremely complex and highly correlated with our ability to focus and process and learn information, to rhythm and timing, and, again, so much more. And here are some of our adults as well, to show you, what exactly are we talking about? How do we do it at Brain Balance? I gave you a lot of examples of what you can do at home, and we're just another component if it's not enough. If you've been trying to reach certain goals and you're unable to, I'm happy to support you. My contact information will be available in just a moment. However, in the end, I want you to ask yourself, what exactly are you doing? Right? How are you taking care of your body or not? What can you change? When you think about what you're eating, because what you fuel your body with matters, to how are you thinking? What are your mindfulness practices? What's your self-talk and your inner dialogue sound like, if you have one? I know not everyone does either. So I know, mind blown if you are hearing that for the first time. But what you do matters. What you eat matters. What I think matters. Okay? So I want you to change that. I should have put that instead of you as I. Why don't you repeat that with me? What I do matters. What I eat matters, and what I think matters. All right. Understanding that and taking those next steps is key. And that's why being part of this training is so special to me, because you have already taken a pretty big step to dedicate an hour-ish of your day today to learn more. Or if you're watching this again, that you didn't have to be a part of this, but you chose to want to learn more. And I have so many more resources for you. Every month, by the way, Brain Balance does host a number of free webinars. We have one on anxiety and back to school at the end of this month. We have some parent coaching pieces in the following months as well. But I also do a lot of these types of trainings in the community, with corporations, international, corporations, to other wellness events, as well as trainings with schools. So there's a lot that we can discuss together if you're interested in learning more, okay? So ultimately, please stay in touch. brainbalancesandiego.com. In terms of Brain Balance, at least, this is ways to stay connected. You can call us or text us or email. Please follow us on all of our social media channels. So at Brain Balance San Diego, we're on Facebook, right? Instagram, and then YouTube actually is the main one. So if you go to youtube.com/@BrainBalanceSanDiego, you'll be able to see a lot of our recorded webinars and testimonials, and just give yourself that extra knowledge to make the best decisions for yourself or for your family, as well as some hope for some of you who may be struggling and have been wanting to take that next step, but just haven't been successful. We have one student right now with us. She is, I think, about 33, 34, and for decades she's been going through a lot of different services, and nothing has given her the improvements she's seen with Brain Balance in just the last few months. And that's just such heartwarming, and that's one of thousands, right? We worked with about 60,000 people at this point, one of thousands of our stories. And in terms of San Diego, this region, we are a Live Well a recognized partner, meaning the work we do in terms of brain health and information and supporting the community is pretty robust. And I take a lot of pride in that. And I hope that part of this talk too with National University, this was me agreeing to, yes, extend that knowledge base and extend that hope, and it give people another non-drug, option to improve their well-being. And this is just, again, one of many different practices that have to come together. However, it starts somewhere, right? And so you are welcome to contact me if you're interested in something like an assessment, for instance, just to understand your baseline, okay? So stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. That was wonderful. And I think I can speak for myself, and I can tell in the chat that we all learned quite a bit from your presentation. So thank you so much for being here. We're honored to have you as a part of the NU alumni community. I'm going to go through a couple of questions that we got on the Q&A and in the chat. And so we're going to start by busting a myth. Is it true that we only use 10% of our brain?
I was just asked this on KUSI, I think 2 months ago. We were promoting all of our workshops for the San Diego Public Libraries, and he said asked the same exact thing. The answer is absolutely not. That is such a fallacy. We are utilizing a lot of our brain, and we can utilize more if we improve that brain health. Remember, the brain is extremely complex, and the reason why I'm able to speak on all that I spoke on today is because we understand that complexity, and we understand how you can improve that complexity, as opposed to many types of interventions out there really focus on one tiny piece of the puzzle. Your traditional therapies and whatnot only are working within their scope of training and work, and they don't see or are able to connect the big picture, even if they want to, right? They're limited, but we are able, as a non-medical option, able to understand you as a whole and help you utilize more than 10% of your brain and really thrive again in life. I love that.
Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that for all of us. There's been a couple of questions about brain training apps and wearables. And what's your opinion on those, and how can those be effectively integrated into brain health?
So that is super tricky because it depends on which you're talking about. So I can't just answer simply, unfortunately. However, what I can say is if you message me, email me at alee@brainbalance.com, or if there's another way, Heather, when you send the follow-up, for those who are interested in being contacted, I can share some of the more evidence-based research, that is happening that you can participate in for free, by the way, for free. I can share those resources with you to show some improvement. So the thing with those brain games, a lot of them do not have the research to back it up. So there's quite a few out there that are made quite popular that have been through some litigation, right, because of their claims. And keep in mind that is a Band-Aid, because you're really looking at the symptoms and trying to work on the symptoms, like practicing memory games, for instance, right? Or problem-solving games. And that top-down approach can only go so far. Can there be some improvement? Yeah, but again, it depends on which games you're talking about. But what we really encourage you to do is understand the bottom-up development and the bottom-up approach in order to have that top-down control. So that pyramid I showed you earlier, in fact, let me see if I can get back there real quick so you know what I'm talking about. That bottom-up approach is really what's key. You need to have a foundation for functioning before we can actually function at our best. So take a look at this again, okay? So many of those types of activities, just look at the tip of the iceberg there. They're only working on, behavior changes, if you will, so oftentimes, not always. So that, again, can only be so effective. Are there ones that are effective? Yes. Again, there's a lot of research being done. So just message me and I'll teach you more, okay?
That's fantastic. Thank you. We had a question come up that I think probably applies to every generation we have on this call, but certainly is top of mind for all of us who are parents. Talk to us a little bit about screen time and the impact
Yes.
on our brain health.
Woo, screen time is rough, y'all. I definitely can feel the effects as an adult now. This being at Brain Balance actually is the most I've ever spent looking at a screen my entire career, and I feel it. I don't know what kind of glasses you have on right now, Heather, but those, I have ones that are for blue light protection, because when I don't wear it, I feel it. Some people,
I do too.
brains, yeah, right. Some people's brains are much more sensitive to screen time than others. And when I say screen time, I literally mean something that display some of that blue light. It could be a laptop, tablet, TV, phone, right? In terms of screen time for kids, we tend to think about it more for the leisure activities. However, if you're one of those kiddos who are more sensitive to screen time exposure, even the school time that they have on their tablets and laptops, that matters as well, and that accumulates. So you, if you're a parent here, or even as an adult, you might notice, say 10, 30 minutes on a screen changes behavior. For others, it's an hour to 2 hours, and for others, it doesn't matter. So you have to really understand, how does your brain work? And it is a technology-based world today. We can't avoid it. So how can you have a healthy relationship with it? Having boundaries for yourself and your children, right? If you don't have kids here, it still counts towards you. Like, I set a limit on my phone of how long I should be on it, and it tells me, do you want to turn it off? I can choose, or I have the autonomy to say, yes, I will get off of this app or whatever it is, or no, I need to do a little bit more. But there's a lot of other resources out there, including apps actually, that help you monitor or restrict access for yourself or for your loved ones. All right. We also have a lot of amazing partners that talk about screen time, and they do things like screen time detoxes, and that's applicable for the whole family. And I love doing that for myself, by the way. I love being in nature, not just because I'm a science and nature lover, but because it gives me that break away from technology and from the screens, and it really helps reset my brain. So those best practices are really key. Whether or not you think you're affected by the screens, it is. The brain scans show it. You are affected. It's just a matter of how much. So having healthy relationship with screen time is really key. And for those of us who are constantly on the computer because we're studying, we're working or whatnot, take those breaks. I talk a lot about brain breaks in my other trainings. Brain breaks are huge, but not just because of resting the brain and letting the, what we call the brain default network, do its thing, right? And be creative and innovative and just rest and process what's going on. But it gives your eyes a break from whatever you're looking at, and it allows us to improve one piece of our visual processing, which is being able to see near far. We call it convergence. So we're so used to looking at something so close now, rather than constantly having this range that we used to have. So that is something we do see a regression in across the board with adults and kids who come through with our assessment, is this difficulty with A, focus, and B, visual and or auditory processing.
That makes a lot of sense. And I
Yeah.
like your point about, using the tech tools that exist to moderate our use of tech,
Yeah.
right? So that reminder, hey, you've been on this app 15 minutes. Do you still want to be here? Can be really helpful because we don't
An
always
alert. We
feel the
lose
time.
time. Time is subjective, and there's no real way to monitor unless you're utilizing other people or other
Right.
forms of technology. And put your phone in a little go to bed or take a break box.
Yeah,
Out
that's
of
a
sight,
great
out of
tip.
mind. That's the idea.
Absolutely. We had a question that I think is good to think about because overall, we are all living longer than we have in the past.
Yes.
And so, what are you seeing maybe in the research or in your practice for those aging from that octogenarian up to the centenarian? I think I got that right.
Oh my goodness.
What's
I love
happening
this
in that
question.
space?
So I love this question because I just heard from one of the top neuro researchers 2 weeks ago about this topic. And if you didn't know, your brain actually starts to break down in your 20s. And about every decade, there's a drop, and then there's a drop, and there's a drop. And to your point, we are living longer. However, our brains aren't necessarily keeping up, and we're not doing the things that we need to do to keep our brains from degenerating, basically, to be able to live those long lives. And we tend to not care too deeply or think too deeply about it until it affects us directly. So think about the senior space. We work with a lot of older adults and the senior community. We have a lot of partners in that space too, because now they're directly affected, right? And a lot of the people who work in that space, unfortunately, got into it because they were directly affected, because a loved one or whoever had dementia or Alzheimer's or something else happened, right? That got them interested in realizing, oh my gosh, we need to do more. So it's really amazing because Center for Brain Health, for instance, they are trying to change this mindset of caring about the brain later to caring about the brain now as much as we do with the heart. 30 or so years ago, the heart health industry was similar to the brain health industry right now. It's just emerging. Nobody really cared. You kind of, this is what you got and you're stuck with it. And, you know, what can we do to band-aid the issues and just cope, right? It's all about coping, where now we know because the brain can change your entire life, you can do things starting now rather than later to help you live the best, most amazing life, right? A lot of us say, yeah, we only want to live to 100 if we're still with it, right? If we're still present and cognizant of the things that are going around us and have the body to allow us to do the things we need to do. But it starts now. It starts in childhood, setting the best practices for overall health and healthy lifestyles. That's a lot of actually what I do at Brain Balance and as a whole personally, is teaching healthy lifestyles, not just changing the brain, although that is, of course, the bulk of what we do. It's understanding that we need to take all these steps now and take it seriously if we want to live that amazing with it life later on. So the brain does exponentially, degrade over time. It starts in your 20s. Okay. That's why, remember, in the past, people used to think, all right, once you're, an adult, 20, 25, that's it. Used to say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So false, though. We know with some basic practices, again, you just doing those basic 6 pillars on your own will make a significant impact. You don't need Brain Balance unless you need that extra push, right? So you have so much within your control. Don't band-aid your issues. Don't just look for the quick fix, because our brain is our best pharmacy, by the way. Your brain is capable of so much. Yep, your brain is capable of so much. It's just we need to set it up properly, and we don't often support that whole foundation.
Sure. No, and you gave us some great tips for how we can really get started on that on our own. I took a ton of notes. I felt a little on the carpet there. I felt like you were speaking to me directly, and some of our other attendees may have as well, but we've got great homework to work on. So
Yeah, and
really
focus on
appreciate you being
one.
here.
You focus
That's a
on one,
great
right?
tip.
It's overwhelming. I gave a lot of different tips. Focus on one thing that you want to do this month, right? Those small, again, incrementally more challenging, right? Smarter goals for yourself.
That's a great tip. Thank you. And I will go ahead and toss it back over to Nancy now to close us out. Thank you so much for being here, Amanda.
Of course.
Amanda, I can assure you that you inspired many today. I think everyone, you had a very attentive audience. Everybody, they learned things. They also felt guilty about things. They also, thought about their families and friends, and it was just really helpful information. And I wish that we had another half hour to do Q&A. There were wonderful questions that were asked, and I'm sorry that we couldn't get to everything, but we try to keep our audience to just that 1 hour commitment. But I hope you enjoyed today's speaker series. We so appreciate Amanda, her expertise and enthusiasm to share this information with us. We also appreciate Heather for moderating the session, because there were really, really fantastic Q&A, and just wish, we could go on this topic for a very long time. So we might have to have you come back for a part 2. I think our audience would greatly appreciate that with another angle. But just upcoming events for alumni, we've got association meeting. Mentoring is really important. We have students and alumni involved with our mentoring network, and an experienced mentor will be sharing information on Friday. We have the business launch pad on Saturday and Sunday this weekend, chapter chat coming up on the 26th, and really looking forward to our September and youth speaker series featuring Dr. Michelle Browning and the 5 C's of organizational change. So thank you everyone who was able to join us for the National University Speaker Series. Do know this is recorded. It was put in the chat, And I think this is one that you might want to listen to again, or you might want to encourage friends or family to listen to the presentation. So again, thank you for joining the NU Speaker Series. We look forward to seeing you at one of our future sessions.